Jeremy and I are wearing matching sweatshirts today, and for good reason. BYU Rugby plays in the Wasatch Cup tonight against arch rival Utah. They've won it 7 consecutive times. And with that said, we welcome in our first guest to the studio today, Luke Mocke out of South Africa, a scrum half, which has been compared to a point guard, maybe kind of like a quarterback in the American football scene. But Luke, great to have you with us. Looking at the Wasatch Cup, which we have with us on set, what would getting this for an 8th straight time mean to the BYU rugby team?
Well, that's actually the first time I've seen it. It's a beautiful cup.
Because you didn't play Utah last year as a freshman.
we didn't get to play Utah last year, and so that was my first year at BYU. But man, it would mean everything. I was so hungry last year to play Utah, and I know the team was real hungry, and for it not to work out, we got 2 years of pent up feelings for those guys, and so we gotta get out there and win it.
It should be rocking tonight at
Revenge
Southfield.
for football and basketball.
That's at 9 Eastern, 7 Mountain. If you're local and you want to go at Southfield, if you can't go, it's going to be streamed on BYUrugby.com as well. I love your story. You're from South Africa. Your LDS came and played for United, was it?
Yeah,
your senior year, and then you went on a mission to Ogden.
Yeah,
to Ogden.
Yeah.
I guess what's your experience like coming from South Africa to a lot of Utah now?
Yeah, I mean I love Utah. I think a lot of people have the culture shock where it's just like a lot of LDS people and that kind of thing, or sometimes there's some kind of culture shock that they have in coming here. But I honestly love it. Like lots of food, like great people, awesome things to do. Everyone's so friendly, and so I've just had the greatest experience coming to Utah.
Can I just point out the fact that only one of us has a tie on?
That's
this
exactly
television
right.
set.
And his name is Luke. Dude, are you dressed up for something else or for us?
Partly for you guys, partly because I have work right after this.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, you look great. You're showing us up, man.
Luke Mocke, scrum half for the BYU rugby team on BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan. Okay, let's take you back to the Varsity Cup last year.
Yeah.
A special game for BYU Rugby and a special one for you as well after the game. What happened after the game that really kind of changed the course of your life?
Yeah. So after the game, none of this would have happened if we didn't win the game. And so
you gotta win first.
So that was the first priority. And then after the game, kind of the crowd rushed the field. I saw my fiance at the time rush the field.
Your girlfriend at the time.
Girlfriend at the time, yeah. And so I just whipped out the ring that it was kind of like I had it, and if the opportunity was right, I was gonna do it. But
it's in your bag on the sideline.
It's in my.
I was gonna say, is the ring in your sock?
It's in your sock during the game.
I got it in my sock. That would have hurt. But yeah, so then I just ran off the field. I saw her rush the field, ran off the field, and got the ring, ran back on, and then proposed to her as she was rushing the field. And so it was a pretty special experience for me and for her too.
That's hard to beat that day. Like even your wedding day might not, because you win the national title in dramatic fashion, and then you propose.
Yeah.
Is that good? I mean, can you beat that day?
Yeah, it was a real special day. Going to the temple was, I mean, just a real special day for us, and being able to be sealed was really special, and so I would say that tops it. But
nice.
But
yes.
Nice. Says the guy in a tie. Yeah.
That's it.
Well played, Luke. You talk about this BYU rugby team. There are a number of different personalities. We asked you, Coach David Smith, about all the different cultural backgrounds that are involved on this BYU rugby team. You being from South Africa, how has it been dealing with the different cultures and personalities as you've grown and developed with this team?
Honestly, it's just hilarious. Every practice is just a kind of mesh of different words from all the different countries and that kind of thing. So we got Bosos from Fiji. We've got Bruce from South Africa. We got all of the. So everyone's just using the different terminology and that kind of thing. And so it really is just a melting pot. It's been sweet.
Johnny Football from New Zealand.
Johnny Football from New Zealand. Yeah.
Johnny Rugby.
Johnny Rugby. Yeah.
Exactly. He got that nickname last year after that, and he's been on BYU Sports Nation as well. One of my old roommates is Sean Davies, Dylan Libba as well.
Yeah.
They're from South Africa. They were not members of they aren't members of the church, but they loved their BYU experience and came over here. Did they have any influence on you coming here, or did you, as a member of the church, you wanted to come to BYU when you were younger?
Yeah, well, I didn't know them before I came to BYU, and so, I came to play for United before, and I got to meet Sean
in
and
09,
Dylan.
and that's BYU's first national title year.
Yeah, well, so I actually came in 2010.
Oh, okay.
And so I got to meet them then. but I didn't know them before that. Kind of the first time I'd even heard about BYU was when I was about 16 years old, and the BYU singers came to stay at our house. You know how they kind of travel from country to country, and some of the families host them. So they stayed, and they showed me kind of their Facebooks and that kind of thing, and I was like, oh, BYU is awesome, man. And so then so that's kind of how I learned about it, and kind of had the desire to come, but until I came and played for United, that opportunity wasn't presented to me. So.
Did you meet your wife at BYU?
I didn't actually meet my wife at BYU. I met her at United when I had come to play in 2010. Her family was actually a host family for me when I had come over here to come and play, and so we stayed together for a while before we got married.
That's not common in Mormon culture. But yeah, and she's the sister of one of your teammates, right?
Yeah,
Dan Hubert.
Dan Hubert, yeah.
So do you have to pass him the ball a little more now, like brother-in-law, if he's on the field at the same time?
I know. I got to give him a little bit more ball.
Luke Mocke, scrum half of the BYU rugby team, with us on BYU Sports Nation, taking on Utah tonight in the Wasatch Cup. You had a tough loss to another college team, which doesn't happen often to BYU. You lost to St. Mary's early in the season. How have you used that loss as positive motivation for the rest of the season?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that has been emphasized during the season is that nothing is guaranteed. And that game was just kind of a picture of that phrase. Nothing is guaranteed. And so when we lost the game, the team, I mean, that was the longest bus ride home ever. But it helped us think about the fact that nothing is guaranteed. Just because we've won a couple of games in the past doesn't mean we're going to win all of the games here in the future. And so it helped us kind of ground us, bring us back to earth, and kind of give us the motivation for the rest of the season like you talk about.
Luke Mocke is on BYU Sports Nation. He's the scrum half on the BYU rugby team, who tonight plays Utah in the Wasatch Cup, 7 p.m. local time at South Field. This team is interesting because there's a rich tradition of success. Like, you're expected to compete for and win the national championship. Is there a positive pressure associated with that you enjoy?
Yeah, I would say so. It's so sweet looking back on some of the videos on YouTube and all of that kind of thing of the guys that have played in the national championship before and have maybe played in other games that have really stood out. And so it kind of gives us something to work for. Coach Wayne is pretty big on the fact that we're caretakers of the jersey. And so I know that Dylan has played in my position.
The number 10 has tradition.
Yeah.
Or the number 9, sorry, number for 9. You with Sean.
Yeah, so Sean has played in my position in the past, and so he played an incredible position. He played incredibly well, and so I need to uphold that kind of stand, and so great positive pressure.
I love that. Caretakers of the jersey.
Yeah.
That's like such a motivator.
A couple years ago for True Blue, I did a day in the life of BYU rugby, and I was there when you hand out the jerseys, the jersey ceremony on game day.
Yeah.
And even in 2009 in Palo Alto, that day was so emotional for that team. Steve St. Pierre got a personal haka from Wayne Tarafiti. Like, it was emotional. Like, there was a lot of tradition and emotion associated with this. I do want to ask you about this. As a South African doing the haka, you kind of break the South Africa New Zealand rivalry there, but it's unique because it's a custom haka for your team.
Yeah.
As a South African, how do you feel doing the haka?
Yeah, it was way interesting, especially at first. It was something to get used to. But I must say, since being explained to us, something that they explained kind of right off the bat when we start learning the haka is that it's not about country rivalry. It's not about,
because it's not kosher necessarily for you as a South African to do it. It's New Zealand to you.
Yeah, and so it originally is a kind of part of New Zealand culture or Maori culture, but something that they explained to us is that what the meaning of the haka is unity. It's coming together as a team. It's uniting. It's doing something together and kind of challenging, as your team challenging the other team, or challenging the other, what would have been in battle, the Warriors on the other side of the field at the time. And so I think realizing that and knowing that it's next to me, it's my brothers, it's the guys that I'm playing for, it makes it that much more special, and it makes it something that's a part of my culture now as well.
Is it still the Army of Helaman kind of words? The custom?
Yeah.
Wayne made it up?
Very cool.
That's really cool.
Luke Mocke of BYU Rugby joining BYU Sports Nation. We see all the football players with their Beats headphones on, and they got music getting them pumped up for the game. And the BYU basketball players, albeit they go to pop music and Miley Cyrus and Kesha. What's your game day, your pregame routine in terms of music and how you get yourself ready mentally for a game?
That's a great question. And it's kind of, it used to be in high school, I used to try to get like real pumped, like listen to some intense music and that kind of thing. But I realized that like, that's not how I practice. And so doing it differently on a game day, it just doesn't work for me. And so I really like to kind of picture myself just as I am at practice, and just do the same things I would then. And so I don't like to listen to music. I don't like to do anything. I just like to treat it just like it was a practice, because I believe that you practice like you play. And so that's what I do. I just treat it like a normal
more of a meditation process.
Yeah. I don't get like psyched out.
You don't listen to
like
Rammstein from Germany before?
Or maybe some Mormon Tabernacle Choir to get you amped up.
We can get a little more amped up than that, right? except for this weekend. Luke Mocke is on BYU Sports Nation, scrum half for the BYU rugby team. So do you have embedded in you the feeling, whatever that is, however you want to describe that, when you see the Utah jersey of, okay, this is a little more important or a lot more important?
It's like a bull when he sees red, man.
Perfect.
Well said.
That is the perfect description. So you haven't even played against Utah, and you described it perfectly. I think you're ready.
I hope so.
Luke, we have one assignment for you before you go, and that is that you signed the BYU Sports Nation Rise Up flag.
Absolutely.
With that sweet silver marker, Sharpie.
Join your teammate Johnny Linehan on there as well.
BYU Rugby against Utah tonight. You can watch it on BYUrugby.com. If you can't get to Southfield and watch it live, it promises to be an absolute throwdown.
It is always good.
They're playing for the big shiny cup to my right on the set.
It's
the
BYU's
Wasatch Cup.
BYU owns this cup.
They've owned it for 7 years. Well, I should say 8. They've won it 7 straight times. They're looking for an 8th consecutive. Luke, great to have you with us, man. Good luck tonight.
Thank you so much.
Dominate. Like a bull seeing red.